Hello, Laney and Major. This is Paul, and what I wanted to show you is there was quite a bit of epoxy and perhaps Bondo used. You can see just a little tattletale trace of the. Let me see if I can get to a trace of Bondo here. You can still see some right here and along here. And we've managed to sand out a lot of that. I think that perhaps the previous restorer, which I believe this was self-restored, was concerned. Maybe this has been beat up on a dock is the only thing I can figure out is how this would have gotten beat up. And he was probably afraid that he was going to sand through. If he sanded, there must have been a low spot here, like where it had been up against a dock and gotten beat up. And then his concern was that if he sanded that, he might sand through the veneer into the next layer. The next layer of wood is running this direction, and so it's real obvious if you sand through it. So, matter of fact, right here, there was Bondo along this, and what we've done here is we've added a thin strip of veneer, and when we get this stain, that thin strip's going to completely disappear. But that's what we've got here, is that thin strip of veneer. So on the other side, and you see the sanding clear down here. This coloration is different clear down into here. There was epoxy and Bondo clear down into here, and so that's why there was a very deep, dark stain used. And that helped hide the problem, but of course then it created a new problem, and that problem was that the stain was the wrong color. We had some veneer turning loose right here. It's being glued up right now. We had some veneer turning loose on the deck. It's getting glued up right now. We had some veneer that turned loose here and basically just completely damaged them. That's been re-veneered right there. Interestingly, you see the previous restorer also used a random or an orbital sander, and so all these scratches that are circular in nature, that most of those we've got sanded, well, a lot of them we got sanded out, and we'll be sanding the rest of them out. All of those made the stain appear much darker, and the stain doesn't know a circular scratch from wood grain. So we'll be getting those out as well. On this side, and we had quite a bit of veneer coming loose here on the arch, and it was put on a bias. So anyway, so we've got that new, and we've got new veneer back here as well, because this was just coming up. We couldn't control it. It was just coming up. Here, it came up, but this goes behind a strip of metal. So we will just epoxy this, which is essentially Bondo. Well, it's epoxy and polyester resins are similar, but we use the epoxy resin. So that'll be filled, and a piece of wood will cover all of that. Excuse me, a piece of metal will cover all of that. This side did not come loose with the metal. This side stayed intact. So anyway, just wanted to show you, this is adding some significant cost to the stage of strip and refinish. What I can do is I can separate these repairs out from the strip and refinish. That way we can make sure that we're still staying on target on our strip and refinish dollars. And these will just be an extra. We're trying to work as fast as we can on this, and keep the cost down as low as we possibly can, while still giving you a quality job. The other thing that you'll see is this boot stripe is in the wrong position. This boot stripe should come across right about here. Leave just a little bit of a tip here, but your stripe ought to be coming back like this. That shouldn't not have been followed. You can look up other 1955 Chris-Craft in that are for sale on the internet, and you'll see that we have to correct this line as well. It might save a little money if we don't correct this line, but I think you'll want this done right with the amount of money you're putting towards it, and that's our guiding light right now, is trying to get it done correctly for you. So just wanted to show you the what we're dealing with. I've got some more pictures that show earlier stages. We're almost done with this stage of fixing the veneer. So we've got some, like for example, right here, you see this big area? There was epoxy or polyester resin. We're not sure which resin, but that resin was all the way down into here. This area was pretty much just black. So we're fixing that, or we fixed that, and we got that out by sanding. We've got just a small area up here that you can see more of the more of that Bondo here. It is a very small area, so right now we're thinking of leaving it, and then this kind of faux painting in the grain. Let us know if you want to do something different. If you want us to go ahead, and what we had to do on the other side was actually hand plane out an area down one layer and then put a new layer on. And of course this layer, that's one thing when you're adding it and it's about horizontal, but when you have to match the grain here, it gets a bit more difficult because this is kind of on a bias. You can see this grain is not horizontal anymore. When you come to the front of the boat, this grain comes up at about a 30-degree angle. So we're planning on leaving that small area right now to keep costs as low as we can, but it's also, when you're standing up at eye level or at dock level, that's all hidden. It will only be when you're having an all swim outside the boat that you'll even see that, and we're going to hide it as best as we can, and it can be done fairly well because your dad did it, or your dad or your stepdad, but that guy hid that. He faux painted that. That is time consuming though, so this is actually a little faster repair than trying to faux paint all this crap. So anyhow, I just want to give you the latest update. I'm going to go back to the billing and split this extra work out as extra work, and make sure that we can try to stick to the original budget on the strip and refinish work. All right, thank you.